Hello everybody, my name is Gabriel Brent and we will be looking at the forecast for APA zones for the week of 8/19 or August 19th, 2013. Uh, just so you can kind of put a face with the voice, that is me, and we will go ahead and get started looking at all of our different markets here. All right, first off, let's start with the ES market, as I'm sure many of you are traders of the E-mini S&P 500. This is our 4-hour perspective, okay? So we can see all the different levels off of the 4-hour levels. And what I like to do is really keep this thing kind of big picture, so we have a general idea of the ebb and flow of what's going on. And by using 4-hour and above charts, we really do um, get to see long-term support and resistance, or supply and demand in the marketplace. So let's look at what's going on here. Now, you'll notice that I do have a lot of really nice and neat colorful zones on my chart. Some are aqua, some are purple and blue. But what do they mean? And basically the idea here is every time price has retested the zone, it turns the zone another color. So for the first retest up here, turn the zone blue. Purple for multiple retests, and aqua for brand new or fresh zones. Okay, so this down here is a fresh zone that we have from 41 up to 44. As you can see, price is getting lower into this area or into this zone. We want to use these zones as filters, or a bus stop, if you will. Look to jump onto the bus at the bus station. Don't expect to be able to get onto the bus at a crosswalk or something like that, or a signal light, but get on at the bus station. Okay, so as the bus is coming into here, now is the time that we need to say, okay, is the bus driver telling us to get on board, or is he telling us that he's not stopping here and going on through? Okay, but what we're really looking for is the money bounce to happen on the zone right here. And let's look at this zone in a little bit more detail, just to show you how time calculates into our analysis here. If we go ahead and click the zone properties, we can see that the ray properties actually come up, and we can see that this zone was started back on 7/10 of 2013. So we know that this thing is over a month old now, and right now we're receiving our first retest. So it's very possible that price can jump out to this consolidation level here, maybe even a little bit higher, or possibly reverse too. So we want to be aware of that. And looking on the right side of our chart, if we look below us, we do have about 5 years of data loaded on this chart. So you'll notice that we have this size zone here, but underneath us at about 5, or excuse me, 1625, we have a really big zone comparatively to all the other 4-hour zones there. So that's what we are looking at on the ES for the different levels at play for the coming week. All right, let's look at crude oil, or the CL futures. And as we look at crude oil, we can see that for the past few days here, we've been in a nice quote-unquote uptrend, as we are moving from 102.74 up to 107.70 and 108.90. So, but in the grand picture of things, I would say that we've really been ranging quite a bit in between these two levels here. If you look at the different zones for the past almost 2 months now, we have really just been going up and down in between these two levels. Remember that we do have a level at the 110 area up here that is fresh and new. That's what we were looking at as we surpassed $100 on crude a few months ago. We were looking for the 110 level to be hit. Hasn't come up there yet, but we have several bounces now on both sides of this range here, and again, this is a pretty big range. Obviously, it's off the 4-hour chart that we're looking at here, but you can kind of see what we're seeing from this. Like we're seeing some really big candles here. Some consolidation coming up into this level. It's peaked into this level, but now it looks like it's turning back down. So looking at the 105.95 and possibly this aqua zone down here. So that's really how I see things going. I want to see this move from supply, or the red digits over here, down to demand, this nice yellow zone. Look for the price action bus to do something at the bus stop. So it has been at this bus station a few times, which means more times that it's been here, the weaker and weaker that gets. But definitely something could happen to the downside there, as we've really failed to break the high again. And so just looking to play the levels as they come to us. So a few of you that were in the Apazones training room that saw me pull this level off the 15-minute chart and look to the high side at 107. It looks like that trade did work out very nicely, but now it looks like we've retested the 107.70 level and are definitely coming back down to see what happens down here again. Okay, so we could stair step. You see some zones being put into place that could be some stair stepping. So we'll see what happens there. But that's what we're looking at as far as crude goes. Moving over to the TF, basically we look like we have failed to break the high that was right here on this candle, and now we are pushing down lower. Alright, so I'm looking at basically where these previous highs were right here for a little bit of sign of support, or excuse me, resistance becoming support, something like that, as well as these two zones down below us in the 900 range. So that's kind of where I see the TF going on the big daily time frame as well. Just so that you can put some context to that image and to that picture a little bit here. So that is really what I'm looking for. Moving over to the euro, we are looking at a nice triple bounce on this blue zone down here, and just seeing that price has really bounced here quite a few times in that range. A lot of times we look at this chart on the weekly, so we know why this thing is bouncing down here. But on the upside of things, it looks like we hit a little bit of resistance here, and looks like we may be retesting that, as well as a good possibility that we could actually push through this level to this next aqua zone up there on that side. So you can kind of see how we had the initial money bounce off here, and then down, money bounce down here at this zone. So first we had this one, then we had this one right here, and now we can go ahead and push through that again. So this is kind of an example of how the shifts of supply and demand happen. So supply and demand will shift, and we can actually see it with zones very well. So we had a supply zone here coming down into demand, and now if this thing gets beaten, you were looking for supply up in that neck of the woods there. So we will see how this plays out during the week. Looking at gold, we can see some interesting things going on here. Gold has been coming down on us for quite some time. Looks like we got a nice little bounce there, and we are headed to the upside here. So 135, 37 is a good level. This is another good level here. Um, but that's what it looks like on gold. So with that being stated, these are the levels for these particular markets. We hope that this has been helpful, and we will come back and revisit these next week, as well as put out a new forecast just to see how supply and demand really does shape our markets and our view of price action to a very high degree, so that we are on the right side of trades day in and day out from all different types of time frames and different chart types there. So thanks so much for joining us, and we will talk to you next week.